Welcome back to the Brick Breakdown. I'm Matt Brick, your host. Last week was week 6 in the NFL. There are no more undefeated teams. We're in the thick of it now. Teams are playing great football. Let's get right into the news. The NFL owners approved a proposal to postpone in-person head coach interviews until after the divisional round in the playoffs. So, I guess teams can focus more on playoffs than being interviewed for head coaching positions. Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, was extended through March of 2027. So he is still a commissioner for another couple seasons. So we have that to look forward to. Colts defensive tackle Grover Stewart was suspended 6 games for violating the league's PED's policy. The Rams signed Darrell Henderson, the running back, to their practice squad. So maybe we'll be able to see him play if he gets activated. The veteran wide receiver Julio Jones signed with my Philadelphia Eagles. People are questioning why we did that. It's simply depth piece at wide receiver. Quez Watkins, our wide receiver 3, was put on IR. And I think that's simply why. Other than that, I think Julio Jones will be able to help my Eagles in the red zone, and so that they can, convert and score touchdowns. So I guess we'll see. I know that Julio Jones has gotten hurt in the past, but he's 34. I can understand, giving him a shot, and we'll see. Anthony Richardson is going to get the season-ending shoulder surgery. Unfortunately, hope and pray for a quick recovery for him. That's a brutal injury. I can only imagine the frustration into that. But now it is up to Gardner Minshew, and Minshew Mania is back for the Indianapolis Colts. The 49ers had a couple players get hurt. Debo and Trent Williams are day-to-day, and Christian McCaffrey also has a chance to play Monday night. So that's something to monitor. And Trevor Lawrence was sore and also considered day-to-day with a knee injury. That's all I have for the news. Let's get right into last week, week 6. Great football was played week 6, and I was ready to see that turn, especially with bye weeks coming out in week 5. So we start off week 6 on Thursday Night Football. The Broncos, Chiefs. The Chiefs won again. But what was really interesting about that game was before the game, Steve Smith walked up to Jerry Jeudy and was apologizing for some comments he made previously. I don't know how long ago it was at that time, but he called him a jag, just an average receiver, just an average guy. But here's the full quote on what Steve Smith said, because Jerry Jeudy did not like what he had to say to him, even though he was basically apologizing to him. But here's what Steve Smith said on air before the game. "I'm sorry I said you were a jag, just a guy who is an average wide receiver. They used a first-round pick on someone, I guess he meant someone that isn't doing anything. I hope today you actually show up in a way that you haven't shown up in the last couple of years since they drafted you. So if you ever got a problem with Agent 89, I'm sorry for saying that you are an average wide receiver that will eventually move on, that they will eventually move on from. When teams call me to ask if they should trade for you, I will say no, don't trade for Jerry Jeudy, because he's mentally unstable to handle constructive criticism. Who watch specifically if you can be a wide receiver." Okay, I don't know if that makes grammar sense, but he also added he's a tier 3. So yeah, that was crazy. A lot was going on. Then Jeudy started dancing around the camera, and like they were still chirping at each other. It was wild. It's something you really never see before. Um, so that was exciting. I didn't really catch much of that game because I was watching my Phillies in the postseason, but that was wild. I did catch that before the game, and Jeudy had, what was it, 4 catches for, oh no, I'm sorry, 3 catches for 14 yards in that game. So Steve Smith kind of had, uh, something to say, and he was kind of right. In Jerry Judy's defense, he has had pretty bad quarterbacks since he's entered the league. And he had Russell Wilson last year, which was not great. So I think that's a decent argument. However, for the hype Jerry Jeudy had going into that draft and being picked where he got picked, I can understand Steve Smith's side, because you'd think he would be able to make a name for himself and hold his own. However, he needs a quarterback. So pretty interesting. I guess we'll see what happens to Jerry Jeudy. I don't know if he'll be traded or not, but we'll see. The Ravens beat the Titans in London. I didn't watch that game because it was at 9:30 my time, and I was exhausted. But yeah, I don't know. I'm done with these London games. That was the last one, and now I know we have Germany games coming up, which is just great. And I forgot to mention that the NFL it was reported that the NFL was like looking at making the Super Bowl in London, which I think is ridiculous. I don't know. This sport is American football, and we're bringing it overseas. I just don't get it. I understand that the NFL is a business and wants to make their money, but Super Bowl not in America wouldn't make any sense to me. So the Commanders beat the Falcons. I didn't really catch. I mean, I had Red Zone on. I didn't see a lot of that game, I don't think. Same with the Bengals beating the Seahawks. I don't remember seeing a lot of that one either. I feel like they were like only showing, um, touchdowns, obviously, but they're only showing a good amount of games, and I don't remember seeing those. The Jags ended up beating the Indianapolis. Jags are hot right now, and I think they play Thursday night, so that'll be a great game. The Dolphins dropped 42 on the Panthers. Panthers are 0-6 now, so that's tough. The Vikings beat the Bears without Justin Jefferson, so that's a pretty big win for the Vikings. The Browns defense, Jim Schwartz, defensive coordinator of the Browns, shocked the 49ers. And after doing a little bit of research, because I was curious, the Browns were the only team to win with a bye week in week 5. I believe the other teams were the Chargers, the Seahawks, and the Bucks. I think that's right. Chargers, Seahawks, Bucks, and the Browns won. They also had a bye week. The other 3 lost. So just goes to show that a bye week, Browns were prepared for that 49ers team. Having said that, they did lose Debo. They did lose Christian McCaffrey. But even with that, that's the thing. People are saying like that's the reason they lost. However, okay, that's a fine statement. But the 49ers only put 10 points up with those guys in the game. It was a tied game, 10-10. And even with those guys in, they weren't like moving the ball as well as they were in previous games. So that defense was still stalling that offense with those guys in there. And I don't know what would have happened if they were still in there. Maybe they would have won. Maybe they still would have lost. I don't know. But all I'm saying is that even with those key players in there, they were still getting uh, stopped on offense. So props to the Browns defense. That was a great game. Congratulations to Jim Schwartz. That's a huge win. Yeah. My Philadelphia Eagles couldn't stop turning the ball over against the New York Jets. Unfortunately, we did lose Lane Johnson in that game, and Jack Driscoll came in and played horribly. That's a reason. The offensive coordinator, Brian Johnson, was not putting us in great positions to convert on third down. Unfortunately, props to the Jets. They played a great game. They kept themselves in it the whole game. To me, it was like, okay, this was a due game. The Eagles never lost to the Jets. It's understandable. So yeah, I mean, it's a tough loss for the Eagles, but you've won 5 games, you lost 1. They play Sunday night against the Dolphins, which will be interesting. I don't know who will win that game. But the Eagles' defense their secondary has just been beaten up. I don't know who will play and who won't play. I hope we'll be able to get some guys back, especially Lane Johnson, because that's where we win football games, down in the trenches. But again, congratulations to the Jets. That was a great win for them. Yeah. The Texans played very well against the Saints and got the dub. Congratulations to them. The Raiders, Josh McDaniels beat the teacher, the Patriots, Bill Belichick. So that was a big win for them. The Lions are playing great football right now. They beat the Bucks, who are off of a bye. So to win a team that was off of a bye is a really impressive win, in my opinion, because I think they just have that extra week to practice and prepare. And to still beat them is just it's an impressive win, in my opinion. I think that's a very impressive win. So congrats to the Lions. That's a great win. The Rams beat the Cardinals. I think there's no shock there. However, Kyler Murray was designated off of IR today, coming back. So I'm sure he'll be able to play maybe sooner than later. So that would be interesting to see. I was not expecting that to happen. I was expecting Kyler Murray to just not play this year and be trade bait for next year. But maybe they'll be winning more games. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. The Giants did hold their own against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football, but fell short. I know that last play was a little controversial. I mean, I don't think the play before that play, they got the hold or whatever it was. They got the ball on the 1, and I think that was just like, all right, here you go, we'll give it to you. And yes, it was totally what it was. Like, I'm not gonna argue the foul. It was the foul. They were mugging Waller. And then on that last play with 1 or 2 seconds on the clock, something like that. I mean, yes, there was contact between Waller and the defender. But should a game be called by a foul at the last second? I don't know. I don't think I would have done anything as the last play. It is what it is. But it was just a wild game. The Giants also had a time management issue right before the half. Had they done something there, even scored a field goal, they may have won that game. But unfortunately, Tyrod Taylor just screwed up, it looks like. So, I mean, I think that was the right call on that last play. Just let him play on the last play and don't make the game like end on a foul and then it's over, and that's just how I feel. The So on Monday Night Football, it was Chargers, Cowboys. I was expecting that to be a better game. Both defenses didn't look as great as I thought they would be, to be honest. But Dallas got that last interception at the end. I think Brandon Staley is still a horrible coach and should be fired. He decided to go for it on 4th and 5, I believe, and instead of kicking the field goal and didn't get it. That's a horrible, horrible coaching decision. He's done that so many times, time and time again. His conversion rate must be absolute garbage. On going for it, it's probably horrible, and he should not be a head coach in the NFL. He's so horrible, and it's not even. I can't even defend him. He's just that bad, and yeah, I mean, yes, the Cowboys won that game, okay, but it was not because of their offense. Their defense won that game. People are, Dallas fans are wanting the credit for Dak, and yet he didn't win that game. The defense won that game, in my opinion. They got that last pick. If the Chargers go down and score again, like maybe that game's over. But I truly think it was Brandon Staley is to blame for that game, because he just didn't put his team in the position to win, and that's on him. All right, we can talk about a little bit of fantasy football. First off, it is Bye-Mageddon Part 1 on the year. 6 teams on a bye in Week 7. The Panthers, Bengals, Cowboys, New York Jets, Titans, and Texans are all on a bye this week, so you don't have to worry to those teams. My fantasy teams are currently 1-5 in my Dynasty League, 2-4 in my Big Money League, and 4-2 in my league. Yeah, I mean, we are officially in the thick of it of this NFL season. I mean, it's Week 7. It's going by pretty fast, in my opinion. We're going to see better football being played. We're going to see more upsets because of bye weeks, and teams are going to be able to come back off of byes and win football games. I think the Packers and Steelers were on a bye this past week, so maybe there's an upset there. I think the Steelers play the Rams. Wouldn't be shocked if there's an upset there. The Packers play Green Bay plays Denver, so I'm sure that'll be a good game. So yeah, I mean, with fantasy football, we're in the thick of it. I know I'm 1-5 in my Dynasty League. I'm probably playing for draft picks at this point. 2-4 of my other league. Again, I don't even play for draft picks because it's a redraft, but I'm not going to lose hope. That's the whole point of fantasy football. Anything can happen. I'm sure it's totally possible for me to still make the playoffs with the amount of games left. So, if you're in the same position, 1-5, 2-4, don't give up. Anything can happen. All right, we're going to go to the Week 7 predictions. So far, I'm 55-38 on my week-to-week picks. That's 75.9%. So that's something. All right, so this Thursday night, the Jacksonville Jaguars are at New Orleans against the Saints. I'm assuming that Trevor Lawrence plays this game. So I'm taking the Jags. For some reason, if Trevor Lawrence doesn't play, I'll probably take the Saints. But they're saying that he's probably going to play, so I'm going with the Jags. The Raiders are in Chicago against the Bears. I'm going with the Raiders. The Browns are in Indianapolis against the Colts. This is no Anthony Richardson. This is Minshew Mania. I'm going with the Browns here. They just dominated against the Niners, and I think it's going to be a great game. So that'll be something to watch. On Sunday, the Bills are in New England against the Patriots. I'm going to go with the Bills here. I mean, as much as to say, I mean, the Bills they did somewhat struggle against the Giants, yes, and it was the Dable revenge game, but I don't know. I just the Bills offense just isn't playing as what uh, they're not playing up to their standard. They should have crushed the Giants probably, and it was a closer game than I think what most people thought. But the Patriots are really bad, so I think the Bills will have a great bounce back game and have a blowout there. The Washington Commanders are in New York against the Giants. I'm gonna take Washington because I think it's a safer pick. Um, I don't even know if Daniel Jones will play. Even if he does, I still think Washington. This is just the better team. The Falcons are at the Bucks. I'm going to go with the Falcons here. That'll be a close game. Um, yeah, I guess we'll see. The Lions. This is the best game of the week, in my opinion. The Lions in Baltimore against the Ravens. Either team can win this game. It'll be a great game to watch. But I'm going with the Lions. I just think they're that hot right now, and they're playing great football. So I'm going with them. Will not be surprised at all if the Ravens win that game. They're a great team too, but I'm going Lions. I think they're hot. Like I said earlier, the Steelers are in Los Angeles against the Rams. Yes, the Steelers were off of a bye, but I'm going with the Rams. Would not be surprised about the upset, said because of the bye, but I think the Rams are starting to cook a little bit, especially with Cooper Kupp back. I'm going to go with the Rams. The Arizona Cardinals are in Seattle against the Seahawks, divisional game. I'm going to go with the Seahawks here. Seahawks are off of a loss. Arizona's off of a loss. If Kyler Murray were to play, which I don't know if he will be able to play, that becomes an interesting game for sure, especially since it's a divisional game. I would have to rethink it if Kyler Murray were to play, but I'm sticking with the Seahawks right now. The Packers, who are off of a bye, are in Denver against the Broncos. I'm going with the Packers here. I think the Broncos are just not that great of a football team right now, and I think with the bye, I think the Packers are just going to get the easy win. This is a great game. The Los Angeles Chargers are in Kansas City against the Chiefs. I'm sure the record there is interesting. Probably not great again for the Chargers. But I'm going to go with the Chiefs. They're that great of a team. Obviously, hey, I mean, this is another close game for sure. Will not be surprised if the Chargers find a way to win, but I just don't think Brandon Staley's that great of a coach, so I think he gets out coached, and I think he shoots himself in the foot again, and the Chiefs win. This one's probably the toughest one because of my bias, but the Miami Dolphins in Philadelphia at the Link in against the Eagles on Sunday Night Football. I'm taking the Miami Dolphins as of right now. I really want to see who's going to be able to play. I haven't really seen an injury report yet on who's healthy and who's not. My biggest concern is our secondary because I know Reed Blankenship was hurt. Darius Slay was hurt. Bradley Roby is hurt. Bradley Roby is hurt. He might be out for a couple of weeks, so I don't know if it depends. It depends on if those guys play or not. If they do, and I'm comfortable, I will tweet out that I'll be picking my Eagles and I will change it in my phone to lock it in. But as of right now, I'm taking the Dolphins because I don't know who's playing. Because if Josh Jobe and guys like that play this game, I think it'll be a tough loss for the Eagles. The Niners in Minneapolis against the Vikings on Monday Night Football. I'm taking the Niners. They'll bounce back after a loss for sure. Vikings just haven't been that great of a team. It'll be tough, especially without Justin Jefferson. So I'm taking the Niners. That'll be it for today. I'm going to close it out with the quote of the day. Today's quote of the day is, "When there is no vision, there is no hope." George Washington Carver. All right, that'll be it for today's podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Please like, subscribe, leave a review. You can follow the podcast on all platforms at Bryk Breakdown, at BRYK Breakdown. You can follow my personal Twitter account at BryckMatt, at BRYKMATT. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.